Hello, this is Billy Core from the Carolina Circle Mall Wiki. It's Wednesday, July 31st of 2013, and I've been getting a lot of messages and comments lately asking about the FAQ video. When am I going to make it? Well, the reason I didn't do it last week was because I had a lot going on, a lot of projects, particularly the Nick tribute show over on Rockin' Waves. That takes a lot of planning and it's very tiresome, but in the end, it's all worth it. But I'm got everything taken care of for this week, so I figured I might as well make part one. The reason I say part one is I got like 70 some questions. I couldn't believe it, guys. I should have considered what I was going to get myself into here. So since there's so many questions, I'm gonna have to make it multi-part. I'll do a little bit of it today, maybe a little bit tomorrow, so on and so forth. So, I guess without further ado, we shall begin. I got the questions up on my trusty Dell Latitude D630. Best laptop I've ever owned, by the way. So, our first question comes from... By the way, if I mispronounce anyone's name, I apologize in advance. First question comes from A5E26. What makes you laugh the most? Well, interesting little question there. Well, my entire life I've just loved laughing. As you've probably seen in my videos, I love comedy. Laughter is something I've always enjoyed. In fact, I'm the kind of person who can't understand why a lot of people enjoy watching sad movies. Because I don't see the pleasure in crying. Unless it's over something happy, I guess, which I've done before. But I guess certain TV shows make me laugh. I know, I'm trying to think of funny shows. I know my favorite sitcom, Home Improvement, always makes me laugh. It did when I was a kid and it still does now. And you know, like when I was a kid, on the original Packard Bell Legend 822 CDTI, my favorite computer games were humor-based. So I'd like to play games that would make me laugh a little bit. I don't know if I answered that perfectly, but I hope that did answer it somewhat. Next question comes from Computer Dude Guy 1. Nice name. After you become a minister, will you continue working with computers and making videos? Well, that's kind of looking into the distant future. It's hard to explain how this process is going to go, but I'm not going to become a minister for at least for another 5 years. I don't know if I'll still be doing YouTube videos or not. More than likely, yes, because I love doing it so much. But part of my calling to become a minister, I feel that God has told me that He wants me to use my knowledge of computers and my talent with it to spread His message and spread kindness and kindness and godly love across the world using computers, you know, the internet, and maybe even starting a ministry, servicing and supplying churches and Christian organizations with computer-related services and supplies. That would be a really good thing to do. So we will see what happens. Alright, my good friend the Visual Boy 37, my good friend Johnny asks, what do you eat? None of your business! No, but he goes further and asks, no, seriously, what kind of foods do you like? Well, that's where I get kind of eclectic. I mean, I guess growing up here in the South, I like a lot of fattening stuff. I like fried chicken. I like hot dogs and hamburgers. I love my mom's spaghetti. It's my favorite meal here. And I love cake and ice cream. And there's this restaurant here in Greensboro. In fact, it's all over North Carolina, particularly in the eastern part of the state, called Andy's. And back in 2009, Andy's moved into Greensboro and opened up a restaurant in the at the Shops at Pyramids Village, the shopping center that took the place of Carolina Circle Mall. And I must say that they have the best hamburgers I have ever eaten in my entire life. And they also have the best hot dogs I've ever had in my life. So if you're in the Greensboro area or anywhere in North Carolina that happens to have an Andy's, I'd check them out. They were really, really good. Okay, I think Libry Gerald, it's L-B-R-Y, or it might be Ibry Gerald, asked, do you like HP laptops? Well, a funny thing about HPs is that they're getting a lot of hate these days, and I can sort of see why. Their build quality isn't all that it should be. I know they're cheapening out on everything, and like their cooling and their fans and everything, but for me personally, I just simply believe if a computer works and you treat it the way it's supposed to be, any computer is going to work for you. I mean, sometimes you just can't avoid problems. Nothing's perfect, but I just think if you just treat a computer right, it will treat you right. Like I had up until I had my Dell Latitude D630, I had been using a cheaper entry-level Toshiba Satellite C655D manufactured sometime in late 2011, and it was a good laptop. It wasn't all that powerful. I mean, it was only like a AMD dual-core. It was one of those AMD Vision processors. It was only like 1.4 gigahertz, and just about anything I would do on it was just slow as you know what. But it did a pretty good job. I never had any issues with it. I never had a blue screen of death. So, and most people would say that's a pretty crappy computer, but I think otherwise. If it works for you, then so be it. I know a lot of people that use HP computers, both desktops and laptops, and they are very happy with them. So I don't see any reason why not to buy a HP computer. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I don't see anything truly wrong with them. Okay, Nintenloop Wolf, I probably got that wrong, something to do with Nintendo, asks, now that you have your Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT, will you continue to take old Packard Bells of that era, or will you go to another kind of old computer, or will you just stop taking old computers? Well, as far as Packard Bells are concerned, my collection days are far from over. Just because I got my all-time favorite Packard Bell ever made in my possession now doesn't mean I'm done. There are a few Packard Bells I still want to get, particularly like the very rare corner desktop, the one that looked like a triangle, and and one of my favorites, an all-in-one desktop, which is pretty much a all-in-one Packard Bell, kind of like the Power Macs of the mid-90s, like we had at school. And of course, in fact, I need to buy this off of a friend of mine pretty soon. There's one particular model I'm really interested in. It's a Packard Bell Platinum 1, which dates from early 1996, and it's the first Platinum line Packard Bell ever made. So I'm kind of interested in getting that, which hopefully will be pretty soon. Now, as far as other computers are concerned, I'm pretty much done. Desktops, I've realized they take up way too much space. I just can't collect them like I used to. I can only afford but so much little space, and so I need to generalize with that and just collect Packard Bells. for desktops. Now laptops, I'll still take a few laptops every now and then, but for like desktops, old and new, I'm pretty much done for now. But let's just have to see what happens. Okay, DOS Dude 1. What are you doing with those two old Power Macs? When will you be making a video of them? Well, DOS Dude 1, you're not the first person to ask me about those Power Macs. They're, right now, one of them, the one that works, is out and is put up in storage, and the one that needs some work is still in my closet. The one that does work, and I am not focusing right now. There we go. The one that does work, I fixed up a couple of months ago. It was the first time I've ever used any Apple Macintosh at all since, I guess, elementary school. That would have been since 2001, and so a lot of it was kind of foreign to me, like only one mouse button, no right-click button, and the fact that you have to turn it on through the keyboard, because I've been a Windows boy my whole life, so. And I had to buy a VGA adapter so I could hook up the Macintosh to a regular VGA PC style monitor, which works perfectly. Now the one that works, I forget the exact model of it. I know I just don't remember, but it's not a G3 or anything. But I wiped the hard drive and I put a copy of Mac OS 8.6, I believe. Yeah, 8.6. And I played with it for a little bit. Like I even tried Putt Putt Joins the Parade on there, and it worked just like it does on a PC, except it plays in a little window and the music sounds a little bit different. But I had to put it up in storage because I just got so low on space that I needed more room for my 822 back there. So I'll be making a video about it eventually, because it is kind of a little interesting machine. And as far as the other one, I think it works, but it's missing its RAM, and it takes a special kind of RAM, and it's a Power Mac G3, by the way. It takes a type of RAM I don't think I have, plus the CD-ROM drive is not mounted in, so it just flops all over the place inside, and I don't know how to remount it, so I gotta figure that out, cause I am kind of a novice when it comes to Apple, but we'll see where we can get with it. Okay, let me scroll up here. Okay, Manly and Evangelista asked me, if you were to own the Packard Bell Company, are you going to bring them back to the US market? Also, are you going to change the current design of their computer, or are you going to leave the design as is? If you're going to change the current design, then are you going to bring the design from the mid-90s Packard Bell? Well, if I owned the Packard Bell Company, I would turn to the nearest person and ask them to pinch me to see if I'm dreaming or not. And then, if it wasn't a dream, yes, I would bring it back to the U.S. market. I make sure Acer doesn't get their hands on them again, and I would make sure that their build quality would be top-notch. And as far as design is, as much as I would love them to look like this, here, let's face it, the 90s are over. As much as I love the 90s, you gotta keep it modern, sadly, so. But I would still I'd make them look modern, but cool. And I hope that answered your question. And Mo ESS asked me, do you have Packard Bells for sale? I will pay $200. Well, I do sell Packard Bells every now and then on eBay, but I never sell them for that much. If I'm going to sell it, you'll get a much better deal than that. But right now I do not have any Packard Bells for sale at the moment. But if but next time I do, I will be sure to let you know. Okay, Buggy715 asked me, well, he asked me 6 questions actually. Why do you like Carolina Circle Mall so much? Well, if you want the complete answer to that, go back to my video titled Why I Like Nostalgia So Much. I think toward the beginning of the video I kind of explained that, but In layman's terms, I grew up going to Carolina Circle Mall in the 90s, and it was a very fun mall to go to. They had a carousel in the food court, which was rare for the 90s. And it was just, had a good selection of scores. I had a great time there, so... And then when I became really nostalgic back in 2005, I knew one of the big things I would have to do research on would be Carolina Circle Mall, and so, and here we are. And his next question is, any tips for buying a new laptop that is not one from the 90s? Well, go with whatever you can, whatever your wallet will let you get. Like I said earlier, any computer would probably do fine. Depends on what you want to do. Depends on what you want to use it for. But if you had to ask me, I would definitely find a good product manufacturer. I know like Dell, and I wouldn't get the consumer line. Instead, I would get the business line, because sometimes they're a little bit cheaper, and they're always built a lot better than the consumer line is. Like if you're, let's say you want to buy a Dell laptop, I wouldn't go with Inspiron laptops. Instead, I would get a Vostro or a Latitude. Those are the business ones, and they were built very, very well. So that's something you want to keep in mind there. And his next question is, do you have the Windows 3.1 shutdown sound set as your Skype sound? Well, you probably heard that sound a few times in the video. No, I don't have that on my Skype, but I do have that on my smartphone, my Samsung Galaxy S3. Whenever I get any kind of notification, whether it be a text message, something from Facebook, it will make that chime sound. So it's not Skype you're hearing, it's my cell phone. Number 4, what's your least favorite thing about Packard Bell Navigator? Well, I guess the fact that it can only run in 640 by 480 mode. Because if you want to go to a higher resolution on your computer, Navigator doesn't resize, and all it is just a little small window, and it doesn't really look all that appealing. So if you want to use Packard Bell Navigator, you pretty much have to keep your computer at 640 by 480. But I guess that's about the only thing that makes me mad about Navigator. And it thinks I'm stupid and asks me if I want to take a lesson on using the mouse. Okay, number 5, what's your favorite piece of pre-packaged software that came with any Packard Bell? I guess my first encyclopedia. It was a very fun game to play. Loved all the little activities it had on there, and all the puzzles, and of course the MIDI music, you can't forget that. And what's your least favorite computer manufacturer, new or old? I would have to go with E-Machines. Their newer ones were pretty good, but I had an E-Machine that I got back in, I think, April of 2000, which replaced the original 822, and it ran like a... let me put it to you this way. It ran like a VCR going down your garbage disposal. Yeah, it was really, really slow, and it wasn't all that reliable either, and it only had like 32 megabytes of RAM, and that wasn't much for 2000, especially if you're running Windows 98, and it's not a laptop. And Buggy's last question is, what's your least favorite computer manufacturer, old and... Oh man, I just answered that. What am I doing here? That's all for his questions then, I guess. And WHRM3 asks, you ever think of importing a modern European Packard Bell model? Well, I have occasionally, but they're so expensive, of course, and plus I build all my modern computers now, except for laptops. But I don't know, it's just, if I could get it for free and I could get it imported for free, I would, but I'm in no real hurry to do that, I guess. And Simone Luca asks, how long will you continue making videos for? Well, for as long as they pay me. which they don't pay me, so that's pretty stupid. Seriously, I'm just gonna do it as long as I possibly can until something happens and I have to stop, I guess. So we'll see how far I can go. Okay, Game Room 2012 has 2 questions. He asks, do you like NASCAR? If so, who's your favorite? Well, I can't really answer that because I'm not really into sports of any kind, so I'm really not knowledgeable about NASCAR, so I really don't have a favorite. And his next question is, do you like Eminem? If so, what's your favorite song? Again, I don't like rap music, so I really don't have a favorite song of his. I'm sorry about that, but I can't really answer that. Okay. Shania and Little Mommy asks, have you ever used a Macintosh, and if so, what do you think of it? Well, like I said earlier, I have 2 90s era Power Macs I've used occasionally, well, just one of them, and I used a bunch of Macs back in elementary school, but other than that, I really don't have much experience with Macs. Now, the whole Apple company as a whole, right now, all I own from them, modern-wise, I guess, is my 160 gigabyte iPod Classic, which really helps for long car trips, and I don't really own anything else. I really don't have much experience with Apple, but they do have a few good products, like the MacBook Pro. I almost got one earlier this year, but I decided to get another PC instead. Mainly because I can't afford to lose my arm and my leg to pay for it. Okay, another multi-question here. Kebask Kevin 2 asks, why do I hear random Windows 3.1 chimes in your videos? Well, again, like the previous person asked, it's I have it set to as my notification sound on my cell phone, so whenever I get a text message, an email, or something from Facebook, my phone will make that sound. Let's see. And his next question is, how many Packard Bells do you have? Well, let me pull up my Excel document on my computer here. I keep an Excel document keeping track of every Packard Bell I've ever owned, and we can find out for ourselves. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, I own 10 Packard Bells at the moment. 10 Packard Bells. Some of them, most of them actually, are up in storage. I really don't use them. They're just backups. But and currently I'm only using 3 Packard Bells regularly. I got the 822 right here, and below it I have my Legend 402 CD, which is KVM'd to the 822. And hooked up to my TV is my Legend 814 CD. So those are the only 3 I'm using currently. Okay, number 3, how many games do you have in the Road Geek CD collection that's like 4 CDs a page? Not the Packard Bell one. I really can't answer that. I know what you're talking about, but in fact I got it right here, as you can see, but they're all scattered about at the moment. I can't really count them. Like I pretty much got every page. About every page has at least 1 CD on it, but I really can't count them right now. There's so many, and of course the ones that aren't in here I got in a box somewhere, which is even more. And oh boy, and now I just realized you left a comment here saying how to pronounce your name. It's Kevin2. I'm sorry about that. Okay, another multi-question message from Gaminga Knight PS3. Hey Billy, a few questions are coming. Number 1, what first got you into making YouTube videos? Well, first YouTube video I ever made was in October of 2006, and was basically a slideshow of Carolina Circle Mall pictures. It was titled Carolina Circle Mall Memories for a Lifetime, but I myself was not in it. I didn't really start making videos like I am now until the later part of 2008, and I started doing it so much that I thought, hey, this is kind of fun, and so here I am today. What is your favorite operating system for Windows, iOS, and Linux? Well, iOS and Linux, I've only run, I had an iPod Touch for a while last year, but I sold it, and I really don't know what version it was, and that's the only time I've ever used it, so I can't answer that about iOS and Linux. I don't have much experience with it either. I've used Ubuntu a couple of times, but not much. As far as Windows is concerned, for older ones, I like Windows 95. It's the one I grew up with, and I just love it. It's very reliable for me, at least, and it's just the basics. And for modern, I guess Windows 7. It has all the features of Windows Vista, but with a much better kernel and much faster and a whole lot more reliable. And as is traditional in our YouTube videos, Chris Rogers has messaged me. And next question, how are you? Well, I guess I'm fine. I've gone through a little bit of a depression this year, but I'm physically healthy, so I guess I'm okay. What is your favorite YouTube memory and video? Oh, that's a hard one. Well, I guess my favorite memory is making all the friends I've made on here. I didn't think that would ever happen. I didn't think I would ever get this popular. I mean, it's amazing. I thought I would just make a few videos and have if I got a couple of comments, and great, but I didn't think I would practically become like I am now. Favorite video? That's a hard one again. So I made so many videos, I can't remember what all I've done. I guess my favorite video was the one I made a couple of months ago when I received the Legend 822 CDT over there. It was very emotional for me to get that computer back after 13 years, so yeah. And can you make a room tour each month if you have time? Well, I see who you got the inspiration of this from. I know Dell0304 does it once a month or so, and I enjoy those videos, and I have considered doing that. It's just most of the time my room's a total wreck, and I guess I could just videotape around the mess, but that's actually not a bad idea. I will definitely consider that, and I have considered it in the past. Alright, now we go to a real good friend of mine, Computer Kid 1416. If you didn't have an interest in... Sorry about that, Computer Kid. If you didn't have an interest in computers, what do you think you would be doing as a hobby or a future career? Oh, me, well, probably, I've always had an interest in writing. I've always enjoyed, writing stories, movie scripts, and, articles, and I've always enjoyed writing Carolina Circle Mall articles for my blog. So I guess that would be my answer for that. And for a hobby, other than computers right now, one of my favorite hobbies is video collecting. I do, as you may know, I do video trades with people across the country. I like collecting old videos from particularly the 90s, and right now my main interest for that is 90s Nickelodeon, so that's a whole lot of fun. Okay, Let's Player 247 asked, what do you think of old computers in general? Well, I really enjoy old computers, as you could probably imagine, because back then, and especially around 1995, 1996, people were first getting computers in their homes for the first time. Windows 95 was just coming out, and all this was brand new and exciting. I mean, when you got a computer, it was a very interesting experience because nobody had really used one before. You had to learn how to use one, which is why Packard Bell Navigator has that what has that lesson on using the mouse, which I always joke about, but in all seriousness, it was really necessary because, like us, it was a Packard Bell was our first computer, and we'd never used a mouse before, so we didn't know what left clicking was. I'm sure at one time I thought left clicking meant you were liberal, but yeah, it was brand new and exciting. I remember going to like Best Buy in the 90s, and there would be rows and rows and rows of aisles with nothing but software and computer games. It was amazing. And nowadays, in fact, I was at Best Buy, last time I was there was, I guess, a couple of months ago, and I was going into the section where at one time they had software. They still do, but I kid you not, what once been about 5 rows of software in the 90s, in the 2010s, it has now been cut down to one tiny little row with only a couple of little software pieces, like, I guess, Office 2010 or something, that kind of stuff, and really nothing, because most, if not all, software these days you download from like the cloud and all this, and I don't know, it's just not as special. I guess because the 90s are over and we've gotten so familiar with computers, the novelty is worn off, but I just kind of miss those days when it was still all exciting. Okay, I think I'll do one more page and I'll call it a day. ACC0919MC asked, what is your favorite operating system? Well, I think I mentioned this earlier for old operating systems for an old computer, Windows 95, and for modern, Windows 7. Both of them are really, really good. Okay. 10T Fee asked, hi Billy, I am glad you are taking questions because I have had one for some time now but never really asked it. Anyway, I've noticed you have an Apple computer that has been sitting in your closet along with some of your other Packard Bell computers. I was just wondering, does it have something wrong with it, and could you possibly do a video on it? Well, I think I mentioned this earlier, but the one that works is up in storage, and the one that doesn't work is still in the closet. The one that doesn't work is missing memory and needs to have its CD-ROM drive remounted, which I don't know how to do. And the one that does work I had to put up in storage because I needed the space, particularly for my Packard Bell back here. But I will do videos eventually of them. And E. Foyds asked, is Windows 95 your favorite OS? Well, to be perfectly honest, yes. I think Microsoft really went very far with that operating system, and I don't think they've ever done it since. I mean, look at all they did when it was coming out. They had Jay Leno at the launch, and it was amazing. And the start menu, it was the first appearance of the start menu, which thanks to Windows 8 is now dead. and I've never really had any problems with Windows 95, especially on Packard Bells. It just runs really good on them. Okay, oh, I missed a question here. The Canadian Toast asked, Are you going to keep collecting more 90s Packard Bells in the near future to show us on YouTube? Well, yes I am. Like I mentioned earlier, I may have a Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT now, but there's still more very interesting Packard Bells that I would like to get, like the corner desktop, the all-in-one unit, and the Platinum 1, which I know I'm going to get. I just need to pull the trigger on that. Okay. Oh, another multi-question comment. Oops. Have you ever, Stoner Crazy Clips 222 asked, have you ever regretted keeping or selling your computers aside from the 822 CDT? Oh, me, not really, I guess. I think the 822 was about all I ever regretted getting rid of. All the other computers I got rid of and really don't miss, like that E-Machine and that early 2000s, that 2001 Gateway. Those were, I hated those. But I've never really regretted getting rid of one. And the ones that I do like, other than the Packard Bell 822, I have kept. So, like the Dell Dimension 2350, I'm never getting rid of it. Okay, and what's your earliest childhood memory? Well, it's the silliest memory. I think this dates from about 1991 or 1992. I was only like 2 years old. And it simply involves me walking into our living room. Yeah, I don't know how I could remember something so silly like that, especially if it's my earliest memory, but yeah, I just remember walking into my living room. Okay, looking back on your old home videos, are there any specifically you remember without having to look back on the videos? Well, I don't know if I have this up on YouTube, but there is one video from May 27th, 1994, where my dad took me to the playground here in Greensboro, and it's about 45 minutes of me playing on the swings and going down the slide and all that, and I actually do remember that, believe it or not. I guess I was only 4 years old. And I do have that on video. I need to edit it down because I don't think you guys want to see 45 minutes of just that. I need to cut it down to maybe just 10 minutes. Oh, I only have 15 minutes left on my SD card. I better cut to the chase here. Are your computer collecting searching days over now that you have your 822 CDT? Well, yes and no. I'm still going to collect stuff like Packard Bells and a couple of laptops here and there, but I'm pretty much done with all desktops other than Packard Bells. They just take up so much space, and I really don't have much room to put them anywhere to begin with, so I need to be very selective and only keep the ones I really, really want. Because I just can't do this anymore. Okay, and what will you do with your Hondas when they break? Oh gosh, don't say that. Well, the Civic, the 2000 Civic, if anything happens to it, it's really no big loss to me. I really don't have much sentimental value with that. But the 95 Accord, oh boy. It turned 18 years old last Thursday on the 25th, and it's been in my family for that long, and I just really love that car. I've had so many memories with it. All I know is when it breaks down, I'm going to be very sad. Okay, and would you like to have children someday? Well, yes, I would like to have children. I'm not sure how many children I would like to have, but eventually I do plan to get married. I don't have, I'm single right now. I'm really not in the market for a girlfriend at the moment, but I do know eventually I will. I know eventually God has the right girl for me, and I know I will meet her someday. And I will course, marry her, and we will have children. And all I know is whether my child is a boy or girl or both, if I have one of each, all I know is my child is going to get so much love, he or she is not going to believe it. I'm going to try my best to be the best father, the most loving father you could ever be, because child abuse is something that just makes me nauseous, and being mean to a child is just wrong. And I will always believe that, no matter what. On a happier question, MBN23451 asks, can you do a video on your collection of computer games? Well, eventually I will. It's just, right now they're all scattered about and I gotta get them all together first. But I do have a nice collection and I would like to show off some of them eventually. Okay, Mikey88772 asked, what camcorder and video editing software do you use to make videos? Well, the video camera I use, well, I can't get the model number right now, but it's a very late 2010 model JVC high definition camcorder. It's an Everio. I got it for Christmas in 2010, and it works really, really well. It has a 40 times zoom on it, which does really well. That is, if you can keep it stable enough. And I love it. It does a really good job. And for editing, I use Cyberlink Power Director 10, which handles high definition video really good. And with my 2013 custom build over here, with its Core i5 processor, if I edit let's say a 30-minute high definition video, it only takes about 8 minutes or so to render, which is just amazing. However, it still takes all night to upload it. Thank you very much, Google and your stupid servers. Okay, this name is a doozy, which, by the way, is the last question for now for this video. Giackenburgen. Okay, I'll just spell it. It's Giackenburgen, and every other letter is capitalized. This person asks, how long do you plan to keep making vintage computer videos? Well, as long as I physically can. I don't really see any reason to stop anytime soon. I enjoy it. You guys still enjoy it for some reason. But I will do it as long as I can. And have you ever thought about doing a written and direct review of a game or system like Lazy Game Reviews? Funny you should ask. I am actually planning to start doing that very soon. I just gotta get better audio recording equipment, and I will do that. I would love to, because I've already recorded tons and tons of video game footage for my Legend 822 CDT with that PC to TV encoder and my capture card. All I gotta do is just get a better microphone and I can do like a full-fledged review on it. And I might even do like a game console at some point. I know I currently own a Nintendo 64, a Super Nintendo, an NES, and a Sega Genesis. And a Game Boy Pocket, which I bought new in 1997, so we'll see if we do that. And funny you should mention Lazy Game Reviews. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He really knows how to make a good computer game video, and I'm really glad he does what he does. And that for this evening concludes part 1 of the FAQ video. My voice is going out on me finally, so I need to quit while I'm ahead, and I will make part 2 of the video possibly tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Again, thank you for all your questions, folks, and I hope for those who I answered today, I hope I answered them like you wanted. So for now, this is Billy Core signing off on July 31st, 2013. Goodbye.